Merhabalar, hoş geldiniz öncelikle. Umarım beni duyabiliyorsunuzdur. TÜBİTAK Avrupa Birliği Çerçeve Programları Ulusal Koordinasyon Ofisi tarafından düzenlenen Ufuk Avrupa Widening ve Avrupa Yenilik Ekosistemleri kapsamındaki fırsatlar genel bilgilendirme çevrimiçi seminerine hoş geldiniz. İsmim Derya Dönertaş. TÜBİTAK Avrupa Birliği Çerçeve Programları Ulusal Koordinasyon Ofisi'nde Ulusal Koordinasyon Ofisi'nde Widening Ulusal İrtibat Noktası olarak çalışıyorum. Merve arkadaşım da Merve Diyarkaya, Avrupa Yenilik Ekosistemleri Ulusal İrtibat Noktası olarak bizimle beraber. Bugün uzmanımız Nikolaos'la beraber öncelikle Widening ile ilgili genel bir bilgilendirme ve hop-on çağrılarıyla ilgili bir bilgilendirmeyi dinleyeceğiz. Daha sonra yine Widening alanındaki Era Talents çağrısından bahsedeceğiz. Onun arkasından da European Innovation Ecosystem çağrılarına geçiş yapacağız. Bugün bizlerle beraber olduğunuz için hepinize çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Ben sözü biraz da Merve Hanım'a bırakmak istiyorum. Tekrar çok teşekkürler. Sorularınız olursa biz bugün de buradayız, her zaman buradayız, ne zaman isterseniz.
Çok teşekkürler Derya Hanım. Herkese merhaba ve hoş geldiniz. Umuyoruz bu etkinlik verimli geçer sizler adına. Bizler zaten etkinlik boyunca sizlerle olacağız. TÜBİTAK'a yönelik, çağrılara yönelik de bir sorunuz olursa seve seve cevaplarız hem etkinlik boyunca hem de etkinlikten sonra. Bugünkü etkinlik aslında Türkiye inovasyon ekosistemini güçlendirmeye yönelik pek çok çağrı içerdiği için umuyorum da sizlerin daha çok ve daha verimli katılımları da bu etkinlikten sonra gerçekleşir. Ben şimdi sözü uzmanlarımıza bırakmak istiyorum. Herkese verimli etkinlik diliyorum.
Yes, would you like to take the stage on behalf of the project for Nikolaos? Good luck with the event.
Nikolaos will start, I believe, yes.
Okay, so I think I can start. Thank you for this introduction. We have organized this IMS. This is the last IMS training for this program, and we have been thinking what we should be doing. As you do know, many of you that you have been attending the previous IMS training events, either the physical ones or the recorded ones, we gave a lot of attention on how to build proposals, how to support others on building proposals in different clusters, mainly in collaborative grant applications, but not exclusively. So what we have been thinking actually is to close this series of IMS trainings by giving something that we are not fully aware whether it has been fully exploited by your side. And that is actions from Horizon Europe that are specifically targeting research organizations and other key innovation actors from widening countries. And Turkey is actually a widening country. What is the concept between a widening country? Widening country is considered as a low research performing country. So what does that mean? That means that we have in Europe high research performing countries like Germany, France, Scandinavian countries, Italy, that are performing quite well with respect to some widely accepted R&I indicators, the number of publications, the number of patents, the percentage of investment in R&D with respect to GDP. So these are statistical indicators that are ranking how well a country performs from the research innovation point of view. Therefore, we have a gap now in Europe. So we have the high research performing countries on one hand, and on the other hand, we have low research performing countries. Low research performing countries are the ones that are in Greece, Malta, Portugal, Cyprus, Slovenia, Slovakia, Czechia. So there are 15 countries from EU that are considered widening countries, and plus Turkey. So what the European Commission eventually decided to do is that we need to reduce that gap. We need to reduce that gap between research performing countries and high research performing ones and low research performing ones. And the idea to do that is they introduced these widening actions. What does that mean? That means that these are actions specifically for organizations that are based in those widening countries, in order to advance their research capacity, their innovation capacity, and eventually collaborate with some high research performing organizations from those countries and achieve reduce that gap. This is actually the main outcome. So the European Commission has been suggesting some various funding opportunities under the widening actions. And this is exactly what we're going to do here. And I believe it concludes perfectly the series of IMS trainings that we have been doing during the whole program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to support to open and share my my screen. So it should be like that. Because I would like to make sure that I share not only my presentation, but also the desktop. Okay, so anyway, I will start with that, and then I will share another one. Sessions. Anyway. Sorry, this is not the whiteboard. It's not the one that we want. We'll try once more with this one. So I guess you can see the PowerPoint presentation. Yes. However, I didn't manage to do that because I would like to share also the Explorer, the Chrome Explorer, Internet Explorer, because we will be navigating through the funding and debtors portal. But probably I will have to switch between those two applications. I don't know why it doesn't allow me to share my desktop screen, but only specific applications. But anyhow, probably these are the settings in the Zoom webinar. So what we will do, we will try to switch from different windows, the PowerPoint presentation and then the Chrome browser. So this is exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to have a quick outline of the different widening actions. You are familiar with them, but we need to make sure that for the ones that are not that comfortable with that, they know where to find it and what to look for. And we're going to also have for this session a more thorough look on the HOPE-ON facility. HOPE-ON facility is something that we will discuss. It's, I think, to my view, very interesting. We had already one seminar on HOPE-ON. However, things might have changed, so we will repeat that. And I don't think that that time was only for the information multipliers. So therefore, What you see on this screen, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, more or less 8 core funding programs under the widening actions. And all of them, to my view, are quite important. Some of them we had already the deadline passed, or it is this week, like Excellence Hubs. So we're not going to pay that much attention to them. However, it is critical to make sure that each one of you is familiar with them. So we have the training action, which is, as the name indicates, an excellent networking opportunity to network with research performers from high research performing countries and learn from them. Learn and conduct, if possible, some joint research activities, learn how they are running their and support their research activities, how they run and support their innovation activities. So it's quite interesting. And as the name indicates, we have a twinning. So we have twins, brotherhood between high research performing organizations and low research performing organizations from Turkey in our case. Teaming goes one step further, and in that one we have financial support for creating an actual research center, a center of excellence, with co-funds also from national funding in an area that the research institutions has an advantage. ERA-Chair is one of the funding programs under widening that opens a position for a high-profile professor to come and lead a research group. So it's in a widening country, in Turkey in our case. Excellence hubs are supporting the development of innovation hubs, specifically in widening countries between industry, universities, research institutions, SMEs, and even the public, to see how we can foster innovation. Then we have pathways to synergies, as we will see. These are instruments that are supporting with some European funds, the development of solutions that have been financially supported from public funds. And we have the ERA fellowship and the ERA talents, as we will see. But ERA fellowships are an extra funding scheme for Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowships, specifically for actors in widening actions like Turkey. Hope-on facility, as we will see, is a facility that allows any collaborative project that has been awarded European funding, Horizon Europe funding, if they don't have any partner from widening action, to receive extra funding for integrating into their consortium a partner from a widening action. And this is one of the two sessions that we're going to give emphasis on. And then we have ERA talents for attracting, to see how we can attract in widening countries researchers and conduct their research in our institutions. In this training, we're going to focus on, we're going to outline each one of them, but we're going to focus on the Hope-on facility and on the ERA talents. And there is not any special reason for that, other than we have still some time ahead of us. Because for all the other types of widening actions, the call deadlines have already passed, but for these ones we have some open deadlines, and we believe that it will be a nice opportunity for you to know how to exploit and how to support your researchers to exploit them. So, but let's see one by one. So we're going to have a look very quickly on the ones that we're not going to give that much attention. So the first one is the twinning. For the training, we're going to examine what is the purpose, what are the long-term benefits that are expected from a training action, when is the deadline or when is the next deadline, what are the short-term benefits on that and the long-term benefits, and we're going to see also what is the budget, more or less, and how many proposals are expected to get funded. So how are we going to do that? Well, the best way to do that is to go to the funding and tenders portal. Why? Because this is the single point of entry that contains all this information. So we will go there and then I will explain to you and some of the jargon that you might not be fully comfortable with in order to understand the training. So we need also your help because I will go in the training and I will change the Google Chrome. So change now the screen that I'm sharing. So I guess now you're able to see the funding and tenders portal and the training action. If not, please give me a signal because I assume you can. So this is where you have the URL in your notes, and the first thing that you need to understand is what is the key purpose. So the key purpose, as we've seen, is to reduce the research gap between low research performing countries and high research performing countries by collaborating and co-researching in a specific bottom-up research area that you believe your organization has an advantage. And we have normally bottom-up calls. What the bottom-up calls means? Bottom-up call means that the research area that you would like to collaborate with a high research performing institution from a high research performing country, it is up to you. You can suggest that. So this is what bottom-up means. It is open as long as you can prove that the short-term and the long-term benefits are needed and are critical, not only for the widening countries that are participating in the proposal, but also for Europe. So this is the bottom-up, and in addition to we have collaboration based on challenges. So on challenges. So last year we had on specific you had the option either to suggest and propose a research topic in a specific research area that is of your interest, or choose to submit a training action in topics that are dealing with Green Deal. And so you had that option if you wanted and if your project was focusing on it. Now we had the deadline on last September, so we expect the next deadline to take place in September 2024. This is a rule of thumb. We're still waiting for the opening date, but probably will be around April this year. What also you need to understand is that whenever you see here the word unit of expected outcomes, these are the short-term benefits that are expected by the project end. So as soon as the project ends, normally in 3 years' time, you need to make sure that you have achieved each one of those short-term benefits. A key word that you need to make to pay attention is that the European Commission expects all the short-term benefits that are outlined here, so all the 5 short-term benefits to be achieved by project end. So you need to make sure that this is the case. And also we have, in addition, the long-term benefits, and the long-term benefits are not in the call topic description, but in the topic destination. And the long-term benefits here for the training actions are these ones. And here it doesn't say that the proposals at this destination should say the critical path to contribute to the following expected outcomes. It doesn't say to all of the following expected outcomes. So the more you support, the better it is. The thing that you need to remember regarding expected impact is that these are long-term benefits, so you're not expected to achieve them by the project end, but X time, X years after the project end. So that can be between 1 and 5 to 6 years after the project ends. So it's up to you, but you need to make sure that you have also a clear timeline for those. Now, what else I want you to remember from that is the budget overview, which is quite attractive. And of course, since this is a bottom-up call, it allows resubmission. So we expect in upcoming calls the success rate to be reduced, but it is a significant amount. So we see that around 20 and 80. So overall, 100 projects, twinning actions are expected to get funded. So I think this is an excellent opportunity for beneficiaries in Turkey to exploit it and try to establish some networking, some close collaborations with high research performing organizations in a research topic that they believe they have an advantage. Just for your information, we had also a twinning training in the past. It was, I think, this summer. So you will have the recorded session. So even if there aren't any other trainings on twinning action, please don't go to our help desk and look for the previous training on training actions. They were quite practical with a lot of tips. So that's the end of the training action, an outline. Then we have the teaming action. So again, I will go to the teaming action here, so I'm sure you can see that it is a perfect funding opportunity for developing a new research institution. However, you need to match the funding from the European Commission. So whatever you ask, let's say 10 million euros from the European Commission, you need to match that with the 50% with national funds. So this is something that it is, of course, very attractive for developing a new center of excellence or improving a current one. However, you need to match the fund. We had a deadline on the first stage application on April, and now the ones that passed the first stage, they're invited for the second stage, so 7th of March. But the budget, as I said, it's quite attractive. You can have a budget between 8 to 15 million euros, but remember that whatever is the funding that you request from the European Commission, you need on top of it to match it with national funds. However, if you are planning to develop a center of excellence and you haven't attempted that yet, then it will be worthwhile considering it when the next upcoming call comes for the first stage. Now, also through the funding and the portal, you will be able to check the short-term benefits. There are quite a lot because they are quite ambitious as projects. All of them have to be fulfilled. And you need to make sure that you achieve them by the end of the project. And also regarding the long-term benefits, also the one that you should achieve something like X years after the project end. So if there are 5 years projects, Then after those 5 years duration, you need to make sure that you contribute to as many as possible of those long-term benefits that are similar with the twinning actions as you've seen. Now, the next one is the next one is ERA chairs. So as we said, is to attract a well-known professor to come and lead your research group during the duration of the ERA chair. And this can be quite attractive. Apparently, the deadline is again very close, the 7th of March for applying, but you need to see that for next year. If you would like to take advantage of it, again, we have specific short-term benefits that should be achieved by the project end. So at the system level and at the organizational level, you can select here, you see here the work to some of the following outcomes, not to all of the following outcomes, as we've seen for twinning and teaming. Nevertheless, the more outcomes you address in your project, the higher will be the chances of your proposal being funded, as long as you provide some realistic activities and measures how to do that. And similarly, we have the long-term benefits from the ERA chair. And here, so these are a little bit different than the ones that we've seen from twinning and teaming. The main idea is to attract really high, well-qualified researchers and the professor to lead our research activities, but also some other researchers that will complement our research group. Now, the budget also is quite attractive. It can be from 1.5 million to 2.5 million euros. The EU funding is 100% funding, and the number of proposals that in every call are expected to get funded seems to be quite attractive, because we see here more than 45 proposals are expected to get funded. As I said, the more we proceed with Horizon Europe, the lower will be the success rate. Why? Because it allows resubmissions. But nevertheless, it is still quite attractive, because bear in mind that applicants cannot be from the high research performing countries. Again, only from the low research performing countries, so from the 15 ones that are forming the widening actions of EU plus Turkey. So that can make it quite attractive. Now, the next one is excellence hubs. As we've seen, again, the deadline is 7th of March. Very busy week this week for the widening actions. So as IMS, if you're not active, you should try to take advantage of those. Try to take advantage of the next year's call. So as we've said already, excellence hubs support the collaboration between these institutions, industry, public authorities, SMEs, the public, the citizens also, in order to foster innovations in a specific area. Turkey has been quite successful under Excellence Hub so far. It is quite interesting contribution you can receive from 2 to 6 million euros budget, and based on that, the European Commission expects to fund around 12. Okay, the competition can be quite high. You do understand now it doesn't have the number of grants that we've seen in the previous calls, that they could range from 100 to 45. However, it's an excellent funding program for creating innovation hubs and having collaborations in a specific research topic of your interest. It can be in case we have proposals that are requesting less than 6 million euros, so that can be also get higher because the budget that we have is 60 million euros. So that means that if there are proposals that are asking less funding, then we're going to have more projects funding. So this is the minimum ones that are expected to get funded. And again, we have specific short-term benefits. The more you support, the better it is. You don't have to support all of them. Remember that these are expected to take place by the end of the project. And then we have also the destination where we see the long-term benefits. So we have the expected impacts. And we need to make sure that we address as many as possible of those long-term benefits. Now, a nice, I will show it a little bit afterwards, but also an excellent guidance, either if you're going to support applicants for the training, excellence hubs, ERA, is to see previously funded projects under those calls. So I will show you how we're going to do that. But please bear in mind that this can be quite enlightening. It will allow you to understand and see what is the winning profile of projects under each one of those actions. So then we have the next one is ERA fellowships. So these are the ERA fellowships. As I said, this is a supplementary schema. So organizations that have applied to the Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowship, so for a postdoc to receive funding for conducting their postdoc research in a research institution. The applications go through the normal process. They are ranked, and if there are any applications from the Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowships that they haven't been funded, but they are on the reserve list, then they can get funded automatically from the ERA fellowship funding schema. So that is a next opportunity. So what does that mean? That means that Marie Curie, Sklodowska postdoctoral fellowships have a second chance also of getting funded. If they are not funded from the normal procedure, they might get funded from the ERA fellowship that is specifically for widening countries. So that can be also quite interesting. The budget overview, well, the budget, the funding for a postdoctoral fellowship can be from 100,000 euros to 500,000 euros, or 500,000. So based on that, we expect to have also an indicative number of grants that are funded. Remember that this is specifically for applications that they were not funded from the Marie Curie Sklodowska postdoctoral fellowships, and they are on the reserve list or in a list that they are considered quite good, so they can automatically receive funding from the ERA fellowship under the widening. Again, we have the project outcomes. I don't think it is worthwhile going into more detail. However, you need to understand that we have short-term benefits for the fellow, for the postdoc fellow that applies, but also for the organizations that is hosting the postdoc fellow. So this is important. And the same principle applies also for the expected impact. So this is the postdoctoral fellowship that we have. The deadline, okay, we expect to have the next deadline September, this September. So you have plenty of time of applying for it for the postdoctoral fellowship Marie Curie. And if it is not funded, you have a second chance automatically to be considered from the Widening Era Fellowship. Okay, then the next one that we have, let me see here, is the Hop-On facility. But before going into the Hop-On facility, I will go through and I will go to the funding and tenders portal because it is quite useful to see how to find projects that have already been funded from previous calls under this. All of these calls under widening, twinning, teaming, era chairs, excellence hubs are bottom-up calls mainly. So what does that mean? That means, as we've said, that the specifications of the calls do not change. So that, on one hand, allows the submissions for the projects that haven't been funded. On the other hand, you can see on previously funded projects that have been funded the winning profile, how ambitious they are, what is the consortium synthesis, what are the type of organizations that are participating, how many partners, how many objectives they have, whether they fulfilled all the expected outcomes, and how do you see that? So you need to go to the funding and tenders portal. I will go back to the basics. So if you don't know where it is, okay, you have the links, but you Google funding and tenders portal, it will be the first one. Then you go to Horizon. Europe. So this is the one that you go. I found it. It's always in a different position. So you click view here very quickly. So you look only for the closed ones, not for the forthcoming, not for tenders, because you need to see what has been funded so far from previous submissions. Then you select the program. Our program, the widening one, is a horizontal pillar. So it's this one here, widening participation, and specifically we click widening participation and spreading excellence, because this is where all the programs fit in. And we have here twinning action, twinning bottom up, or this one here, sorry. So if we click on this one, so this was a call deadline 2022. And here at the bottom, because it is already a closed call, as soon as the results have been officially announced, we can see the projects that have been funded. And we see here around more than 100 projects have been funded. So this is a very good starting point, because you can check those. See, for example, ExoHost, whether they have a project website. If you go to the project website, I'm doing that here. So you go here, ExoHost. So we have University of Tartu, ExoHost, Tartu. Yes, that's the one. So you look in Big Brother from the title and the acronym, you look for the project website. And based on the project website, you try to find out more information. So we have here a webpage. So this is the ExoHost project. You do a little bit of investigation. So you look on, as I said, on the work packages, the deliverables, the synthesis, what kind of deliverables they had. Also the partners, what type of partners they have, how many they have. So you do your own investigation regarding that. And you do that for any bottom-up call. Either it is training, teaming, excellence hub, you go to previously funded calls, you check the bottom and you look for projects that have already been funded. You can do a little bit more filtering. Maybe you look for projects that were related in your own area. So in the search facility here, you search for, I don't know, let's say biomaterial. Yes. Because maybe your research focus is on biomaterial. You see here that, okay, there is already one that has been funded, so see what else you can offer, because biomaterial is a very broad scientific topic. So you check that, and you see what kind of intelligence you can get from the project website of those that are related to your research focus. So we complete that now, and I will go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, hope it's work. So we completed the ones that are the deadline is very close, or in many months from now, and we're going to give a little bit more emphasis now on the Hop-on facility. And the Hop-on facility, as we said, it is an excellent opportunity to join an already running project. Now, there are some drawbacks on that, but I'm going to give you some tips. So what we're going to describe from the Hop-on facility is the purpose, the expected budget, the expected deadline, what are the short-term benefits and the long-term benefits from that, and also where can we find the projects that can invite that they don't have any participant from a widening action. You'll see also a list there. We're going to see those from the funding and others portal. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit on the proposal template and try to give you some tips for success. Because the truth is that although Hop-on was considered as a very good opportunity for beneficiaries from widening countries, including Turkey, to join already running projects, we've seen that in many cases, very few running projects are willing to accept extra partners, even if there is extra funding for that. But I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that, and see whether there are any, maybe some of you have already some other experience that you would like to share. So the first thing is that we go to the funding and others portal from the Hop-on facility. I will change the screen now so we can see. So you have the link. This is the screen. So the Hop-on facility, we have deadlines for that, multiple cutoffs. Before we used to have 2 cutoffs per year. Now we have more or less 1 cutoff per year. But that is something that you definitely need to take advantage. So the idea is that you're going to participate in a running project, and you're going to add value to the project, and at the same time, you're going to receive value from your participation in the project. Now, the idea also, the budget overview, you can receive extra funding, the project, and then you will receive, but the project the one that you are targeting and you are applying to join, can receive funding from 100,000 euros to 600,000 euros, so depending on how ambitious is your involvement in the project. Also, we used to have a very high success rate. What does that mean? As soon as you manage to convince the consortium to accept you and have you on board, then which was not that easy, then the success rate was quite high. Of course, as I said, the more we proceed into the Horizon Europe, the lower that gets, but still it is quite attractive. So try to exploit it as much as possible. So what you need to do is you need to do a little bit of intelligence. You need to go through and check and play under the call updates. Here, this is very important. You check all these projects that could be eligible for the Hop-on facility. These are the ones that you can download also in an Excel sheet, all the details here, you download it, and then you see which ones probably are related to your research focus. And then you contact here or try to find from the project website, try to find the coordinator and see whether you can convince them to accept you on board. So this is an extensive list. We see here something like 330 projects that could be open for your participation from Turkey. You check the ones that are related to your research focus, and you try, and then as soon as you convince them, you write an application form. Is not more than 8 pages. I think maximum 8 pages. You will see the template. Maximum 8 pages that you submit to the European Commission. Now, you have 2 ways here to exploit the Hop-on facility. One is to identify a research project that is very close to your own research interest. And then because it is close to your research interest, then you suggest a specific task or a specific work package that is a self-independent work package task. So it doesn't add interdependencies, it doesn't require any links with other work packages, but it will be an add-on value for the project. So you need to study, you need to do a lot of study, you need to go to the project website, again by Google, going to the project website, finding out that, or if it is a new one, you contact the project coordinator and you try to find as much information as possible, so then you will be able to suggest what kind of values you can get out of it. Now, one important element that I think is critical is that from the budget of that we've seen that the consortium will receive, almost all of it will go to you. Will go to an organization from Turkey for implementing that additional work package or that additional task. Minus 10% of that funding that will go to the coordinator. So you need to understand now that this is there is a win-win scenario now from the budget point of view, not from the project point of view. From the project point of view, always there is added value that is expected from your project, but from the financial point of view. Why? Because in addition, the coordinator will have extra incentives to accept an organization from a widening country. Why? Because they will have an extra budget, 10% for coordinating the whole process and the additional workload that is added with one more partner in the consortium from a widening country. So the coordinator in many cases is your ally, your friend, your collaborator, but you and the coordinator have to convince the rest of the consortium that about your high value. So this is something that might not be that easy and challenging. So that's why you need to do your own investigation. So one point, as I said, is to find projects that are very close to your research focus. So it will be easier for you to identify what kind of value you can add through a separate work package or through a separate task. But on the other hand, it might be worthwhile investigating that, even if you can contribute horizontally and not vertically. And what I mean with that is that maybe you are active in social science and humanities, or maybe you're experienced in life cycle assessment, or maybe you are experienced in business models, or maybe you are experienced in assessing the societal impact of innovations. And that can be quite attractive, because then you have even more opportunities to participate, as long as those projects that we see here, they haven't addressed that. So for example, there are these 330 projects, they haven't thought of introducing, of measuring how much is the footprint of their solution to the environment. So then if you have a life expertise in life cycle assessment, then immediately that is a very nice task that you can suggest, or a very nice work package. So that's another tip that I would like to tell you. Or any of those projects, they haven't assessed what will be the impact of their solution to society. And if you are, for example, expert in S life cycle assessment, which is social life cycle assessment methodology, then you can suggest that as an extra task or an extra work package for any of those projects. Or if they haven't, if they don't have a clear task or work package on how much will be the impact in the economy, then you can suggest as a task if you have that kind of expertise. So this is something that not many hop-on candidates are considering, and I believe it can be quite interesting in your case. On the other hand, another thing that you can do is what collaborative projects like. So that's another tip. What collaborative projects like is to have, first of all, on one hand, not to have a lot of workload, extra workload, but on the other hand, to have really higher value. So how you can achieve that? Well, you can achieve that by suggesting a complete extra pilot in Turkey. So suppose that there is a project that has already planned 2 pilots or 3 pilots in 3 different regions, in 3 different countries, then suggest an additional pilot to take place in Turkey. Of course, you will be the one that you will receive the funding, but you can have as associate partners all the other players that are needing for running your pilot in Turkey successfully with the developed solutions from the project. And that can be quite attractive for a collaborative application to have one more pilot without even paying for it. And you will be responsible for that. So that's also another consideration for you to see when you are suggesting to join any of those. Try to suggest, if all the other things fail, try to suggest a pilot to an extra one more pilot to test, validate the project solutions in Turkey. And also that will increase your chances of being accepted, at least by the consortium. Okay, so we've seen the Hop-on facility. We have already seen some tips. So what is missing now from our presentation is to see a little bit the, let me see if I have that, to see the application form. Yes, this is just to see a little bit and make you familiar with it. Let me change a little bit more than what I'm sharing. So this is the Hop-on facility application form. So always check whether there are any changes on that. This is part B. So as we've said already, it should be maximum 8 pages. So let me increase a little bit that for your presentation. So that's there. So make sure that it is maximum 8 pages. So it's not a big deal. As I said, the most difficult task is to convince the consortium and not that the coordinator. And it consists of, again, 3 parts. You have the excellence part. So this is something that you need to answer each one of them. For example, why it is essential to have you as a partner from a widening action. What will be the added value? What will be the additional solution services that can be offered? How you're going to offer those solutions and services? I remind you, a very nice one is to have an extra pilot in a widening country. It's a very well received, also from the consortium, but also from the European Commission. Then for the impacts, per se, you need to show with your contribution, with your extra task and work package that you're going to introduce in the project, what will be the short-term benefits and the long-term benefits from your own work package. Of course, you need to align them with the ones that are very generic in the Hop-on call, but you have them as a guide, but you need to have a convincing strategy on how to achieve them. And you need also to explain how you're going to promote and raising awareness about the results that you're suggesting in the project, and how you're going to promote and raising awareness about your involvement in the project. So these are 2 elements that you need to show. How you're going to address them, this is under 2.2. And last but not least, under this section, you need to, under impact, you need to also indicate how you're going to exploit the results from your own work package or task that you're suggesting. So this is also important. And then since we're talking about exploitation, the IPR models. Who will own that result from your own work package? Please explain the conditions on that. If there are any conditions, if there's going to be a joint ownership or your own ownership, you have to think about these elements. And of course, under 3.1 section, you need to give a little bit more detail regarding methodology with respect to the work package. So you need to describe that specific work package or task that you're going to add into the project. And this is what you have there. Now, as I said, it is a winning factor if you suggest a pilot in a running project. And that can be also quite handy. Why? Because pilots normally take place towards the end of the project. So by the time that you find a project, suppose that you find a project now, up to the time that you submit the proposal end of September, a lot of months have passed. So you have already time ahead of you to be invited in the pilot, because pilot projects, if you're targeting now a project that had just been started, then there is still plenty of time to introduce the pilot towards the end of the project. Also, if you're talking about life cycle assessment or societal life cycle assessment or impact of the project solutions to the economy, normally this kind of measurements, assessments take place towards the end of the project. So there is still time of you finding projects, applying, waiting for the approval, waiting for the contract amendment, because we will need the contract amendment as soon as your application is accepted by the funding agency, when you have the approval from the consortium, because you need to indicate that this is the case here. So the consortium are aware and agree, so you need to have yes. If it is no, forget it. And so as soon as you have the coordinator and consortium approval, you start preparing the proposal, you have the approval from the HOP-on facility, a lot of months have passed, then you need to have a contract amendment until you're officially invited in the project. That means probably 2 more months. So we're talking about a lot of time from now. So try to suggest tasks and work packages that can take place towards the end of the project. Pilot, life cycle assessment, societal assessment, and etc. Okay, so I don't know whether you have any questions on the HOP-on facility, or maybe there are any comments from Daria or from Odysseus on HOP-on facility.
No comments, Nikos.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me see if we have any questions, or I will open the floor for any questions. So no questions for the time being. Okay, now let's see any. So I don't know how familiar you are with the HOP-on facility or how frustrated you are with the HOP-on facility, but I hope now after this session you are starting to see it from a different point of view, because this is important and it can open the doors for many funding opportunities based on running projects, specifically the HOP-on facility. Okay, so since we have that, then I will go back to my presentation. I will switch again to the Microsoft PowerPoint. So we talked about the HOP-on facility, and also as a reminder, there is a training on HOP-on facility. Let me go back because that can be quite useful. So where to find it? Microsoft Google Chrome. So this is the one here. So we go to Zen. So this is what we have. These are the trainings. Let me see here. So we write here. Hop. So you see here, it's a very handy one. You see here, I think this is the training took place 2022. You can find here probably some more details. There is the video. There is also training material, also how to approach actors, potential ones, also some guidance how to build the application. Let me share that link with you in the chat. So you should be able to chat. I don't know. So, but I think I'm sharing only to the panelists and not to the audience. So let me see. How to change that? So if Kemal or someone else can share that to the whole, to everyone. For some reason, it doesn't allow me to do it. So if you can share that link, because it will be useful. And since we are here, as I said, we had interesting training on training. So you focus the latest one. Yes, was in May last year. So if you go there, you will see a very nice training on twinning. Yes. So this is the link. I will share it. So thank you, Daria, for sharing that. for hop on. Please share that also for the training action. Much appreciated. And I think there is also for teaming. Let me see, because there was one that took place. Teaming, yes, this one here, that was in 2021. Let's see. I think the cluster teaming, I think that's the, yes, the other ones are for collaborative grant applications. You don't need to worry on those. So this is another one. Teaming, quite useful one with presentations. I will share that to the panelists and then Daria wonderfully can share that with you. And we have also on Excellence Hubs, I think. Project Excellence somewhere. Yes, that's the one. Here I will open the new tab. So this is the one for Excellence Hubs. Please make sure you have that. Thank you, Daria, for sharing that. And we have for ERA chairs also. Again, this is a treasure. We have so many interesting, yes, widening ERA chair. Yes, here is this one. For most of the calls, we have that. So make sure that if you want more information, try to study those. It is a very nice repository of training material and videos that you can exploit. And if you don't have time to watch the whole video, you go to YouTube and you can have it in double speed, or you just check the training material and then you see whether there is any need for watching also the video for that. But it is these are must ones for our trainings. Okay, so now the next one I will again change. Let me see. Okay, so if you want to ask a question, you can use the Q&A if you wish for that one. If you wanted Eileen to ask a question, but let me now go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Right. Nope. This one. And this is the ERA talents. Yes, so I guess I will go one for the ERA talents, and then I guess we can have the break for this Q&A session, and then we can have our short break. Yes. So this is ERA talents. Now this is a new call. We didn't have anything like that before. Just one pilot tech. We are going to have a look at it because it is quite important. So again, where we go to the ERA Talents Funding and Tenders portal website to examine the different elements. We go and share the file, and this is the ERA Talents. So there is a deadline on 26th of April. The planned opening date is 11th of April, so we don't have the application yet. We don't have any info day on that, but we might have one. This is quite interesting because it is here it is aiming to attract talents. I mean, talents from researchers that they are quite. They have made some profound. They have made some preliminary profound findings, and we would like to have them. Sorry. So these talents can be involved in secondments in other organizations, could get some help on conducting their research, developing innovative solutions also from their research results. Yes. Let me see something that I'm sure is quite interesting. One moment. Okay. So the main outcome of that is for improving the career paths of researchers in widening actions. So in widening countries, sorry. So we expect first of all to attract postdocs and researchers, even earlier stage researchers in widening countries. We expect to train them. We expect to provide them also the facility and the infrastructures of conducting research better. We expect them to collaborate with the non-academic sector also, not only the academic, but the non-academic sector, in order to improve their research and soft skills. We expect them to increase their entrepreneurship competencies by having specific training activities and secondments. And it is a quite new measure specifically for widening actions. So it is something that could be quite attractive to our view. And we have already, as we will see very soon, a pilot project that has been funded under this concept, so you can get some ideas out of it. If we take the budget overview, that is also quite attractive because we expect to have project funding from 1 million to 3 million euros, and more or less minimum 20 projects are expected to get funded. So this can be quite attractive as a call. On one hand, why? Because we have it's a new call, so we don't have any bottom-up calls being submitted on that. And of course, we can get some ideas from previous Marie Curie actions for that. But nevertheless, still it has some peculiarities, as we will see. So the best thing that I advise anyone to do is to check the EdTech talents. So what this is a project for educating researchers in order to conduct better research in a specific research area, that is educational technology. So that was the pilot that was awarded. But in your case, when with the ERA talents, you are expected to attract and train researchers in any research area in order to help them to conduct research and lead to breakthrough innovation solutions in any research area. But it is, for me, I personally believe it is a very good starting point for getting some ideas how you're going to build your own process or how you're going to help others to build your own product. So what we have here, you can look on the partners and see what is the synthesis of the partners, how many we have from the academic sector, how many we have from the non-academic sector, what type of organizations we have. So that's an interesting point. Also, you can check if we, let me see. So you can check also what kind of results are expected from that project. Similarly, in the same way, we expect such results from any ERA talent project, but not in the education technology, but in your own research focus. So you can get some idea behind from the results from the EdTech. You can also check the news, the events. These can be also quite useful for understanding the type of events that such a project could organize, activities and actions that are made from are expected from those training, from those projects. Now, regarding project management, I don't think there is something here that you can get about, but okay, you have here the project management structure, but still this is not very important. But here, this is interesting. And the homepage, you have here the collaboration, as I said, between key universities and companies, and how you expect the researchers to work in the non-academic sector, in the industry, how to get trained also, to conduct better their research. So this is an interesting diagram that you can find out more on what kind of collaborations are expected. Now, let me see if there is also to follow the social media and the YouTube. So there is a lot of interesting ideas that you can have from that project. As I said, the fact that it is for the first time that we have ERA talents can be quite challenging on one hand, but very attractive from the success rate point of view. So maybe it will be worthwhile investigating more, investing more energy on exploiting the ERA talent. Now, I will. So you have the EdTech talents in the presentation. So I don't know whether there are any questions or any comments, either from Odysseus or from Delia, or any questions from the audience, because we are reaching, according to our agenda, the end of the first part, where we can invite for some questions, and then we can have a break. So any comments from anyone? Okay. Any questions or any remarks on that? Because if you don't have any, then we can have our break. We can have our break and continue. I don't know, Odysseus, when shall we continue with your session? In 10 minutes time, or as it is in the agenda in 20 minutes time?
I think we can split the difference into a quarter. So
Okay.
for people to have a coffee, have something to drink, and continue in 15 minutes.
So that means at 15:35.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so that's great. Let me see if we have any. Wow. Okay. Okay, we don't have any just an organization. Don't need to answer that with a population. Okay, so let's meet at 15:35 with the next part. But if you have any questions regarding anything that was discussed, look at them during the break and raise them, and we will address them as soon as we start the next session at 15:35 in 15 minutes or so. Till that time, enjoy your break and looking forward to your participation in the second part. Odysseas, shall we start with your session? Let me see if there are any questions. Not if there are any questions, so.
Yes, we can start. And if there are any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and I will see them in the Q&A. So let me share my screen. So this second presentation is devoted to European innovation ecosystems. We felt that these two instruments, the widening and the European innovation ecosystems, are kind of very interesting for Turkish participants. One could say that they are complementary in the sense that there are a lot of mentions into widening countries and to emerging and moderate innovators in the European innovation ecosystems, and there is an attempt to support this innovation ecosystem. So countries from widening countries have a lot of potential to participate and to create their own ideas and find their own ideas in these calls. Before we start, just I'd like to mention that Nikolaos also mentioned that we have a lot of material ready into our help desk, so please feel free to look at it. So I don't want to lose any more time with the generic introductions. So I will go directly to the explanation of the European innovation ecosystems and where they stand, where they sit. So the European innovation ecosystems are under Pillar 3, Innovative Europe, along with EIC, the European Innovation Council, and the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. The idea is that Europe wants to create interconnected, inclusive, and efficient innovation ecosystems that will help companies, startups, spin-offs to scale up, to create more innovation, and to address the important challenges that we face in a responsible way. There are a lot of complementarities and synergies with all these three tools, so with EIC and EIT, and across, of course, Horizon Europe. And the idea is that we need to draw on the existing strengths of national and regional and local innovation ecosystems and upgrade them, make them more interconnected and more efficient. The main purpose of these ecosystems are to respond to challenges. But let's explain, first of all, what is an innovation ecosystem. And I'm sure that a lot of you know it, but in the context of Horizon Europe and European Commission calls, we need to be sure what European Commission means when they talk about the innovation ecosystem. So an innovation ecosystem is an ecosystem that brings together people or organizations with a goal to promote innovation. So innovation, of course, is the main goal, the main objective of the innovation ecosystems. And how do they do that? They link all available resources. They can be funds, national funds, regional funds, European funds. It can be infrastructure, equipment, facilities, making them available to startups, making them available to innovators, to entrepreneurs, to students. It can be organizations, either local organizations, universities, higher education, research and institution facilities, companies, venture capitals, financial intermediaries, and of course, investors and policymakers. So we bring all of them together and we make them work for the common good. Why? Because we need to solve the global challenges. We need to respond to these problems. And these are the problems that are addressed through the pillars of Horizon Europe. Of course, in Pillar 2, we have the top-down calls where we have explicit requirements and demands and problems described by the experts of the Commission that will help us contribute to the solutions of these problems, to the overpopulation, to food, to lack of energy, to climate. However, in European innovation ecosystems, we are not looking to find the solutions. We are looking to build the networks and the links that are necessary to find these solutions. This is a very important difference, and you need to remember, because European innovation ecosystems is not about research. There is always a relatively small part of research in the projects, but the scope and objective of the project is not research. It is the support of research and innovation. Same goes, of course, for widening. We have usually most of the problems in widening, not all of them, but most of the problems in widening also support innovation support and research support programs. So these challenges were existing in the beginning of this period, in the beginning of when Horizon started, and they are still there. We haven't managed to solve any of them. However, there are new challenges that are coming up. Most of them are the same or interconnected, and these are apparent and will be mentioned in the new work program for Horizon Europe, and of course in the next framework program. The European Commission has completed last year the strategic plan for 25-27, and this is available in this link, and you will be able to read it. And you see in that strategic plan that we have now new challenges, or rather the same challenges, more or less, but with new specific problems that we need to focus on. So, of course, climate change is there, energy supply is there, especially after the war in Russia, the loss of biodiversity, a very explicit challenge that has to do, of course, with the climate change, the strained healthcare system and aging European population that wasn't defined in exactly that way when Horizon Europe started, but then we didn't have COVID-19 at that point. So COVID-19 made apparent that we need a stronger healthcare system, and we need to prepare for the next pandemic. We need to understand that the European population is aging, and we, as Europe, will need new systems, new structures for that. The global competition for technological leadership, it was also something that was mentioned, but now it gets a new light with the geopolitical changes that are happening around the world. Global stability and European social preparedness, of course, that goes without saying. And you see that the global crisis and the geopolitical uncertainty that we see around Europe has found a way into the new future challenges. Social justice, migration flows are just part of these geopolitical shifts. So these are some of the problems that should be in your projects, that you should work towards them, and you should think about potential solutions. Another major aspect of the European innovation ecosystems is the constant reference to the European Innovation Scorecard This is something that can be found also in widening, because the idea is that the Commission would like to support countries that are not strong innovators. And if you see the map, you will see that the more green a country is, the higher this country is in the innovation scorecard. Of course, first of all, we have Switzerland and Denmark and Finland, the Scandinavians, also Northern Europe. But then we have the Eastern Europe, which are moderate innovators, and of course the Balkans and Turkey, which are emerging innovators. Now, the goal, of course, is to raise the innovation standard throughout Europe. So that means that we need to help the countries that are lower at this innovation index and push them to improve their innovation structures, push their innovation, and help them reach a better state, better innovation state. To do that, we have the support programs like the European Innovation Ecosystems. And if you study the calls that have been published since 2021, it is a new program. There wasn't any innovation ecosystems in Horizon 2020. You will see that the scope and the goal of every single call was the support of innovation. They follow a pattern where they try to build every year on top of what is already there. So in past calls, we saw calls to create new or strengthen existing innovation ecosystems. Now we see a move towards the interconnectedness of these innovation ecosystems. And the aim, of course, is to create, to expand, to connect more, to be more inclusive, to improve the efficiency of innovation ecosystems, and to strengthen and expand the cooperation between all innovation players. At the moment, there are 4 calls that are either open or forthcoming. These are the ones that you can see on the table. We have a call regarding the African Union and the European Union Innovation Platform that has a deadline of April 2025 and a budget per project of 2.5 million. However, only one project will be selected, so the chances are not very high. And we are talking about a consortia that already have some presence in Africa. There are a lot of requirements to include, of course, African partners. Startup Europe, that is a very good opportunity. It also has a deadline of April 2025, 1.5 million per project, but here we have 6 projects that will be funded. So there are good chances that if you work well and you have an existing project, or you have participated in an existing project that has supported innovation, maybe you can build on top of that. We will also present the 2 forthcoming calls, the expanding academia and enterprise collaborations, with a deadline on September. That has a budget per project of 500,000, and 5 projects will be selected. And finally, a very specific call, the call on mutual learning and support scheme for national and regional innovation programs. This is explicit for agencies or for authorities that work with innovation programs, and the budget is quite low, and there are very specific actions that are funded, as you will see. So we're going to analyze every call one by one and see what do you need to know about each different call. The African Union, European Union Innovation Platform, we are talking about inclusion and interconnection of less represented regions and actors in order to create a stronger integrated European ecosystem. So bring the African ecosystem closer to the European one, capitalize on the experience of the European ecosystems, create some common visions, integrate the ecosystems, strengthen and expand the cooperation between innovation players is another call aim. So better support for next generation of companies, so better support for the startups, better solutions, a clear pathway on how we can support innovation. And of course, that will eventually and hopefully mean stronger innovation performance and increased competitiveness. These are the call aims. And to do that, the call expects a number of outcomes. So participants need to show that there will be a strengthening between the research innovation cooperation between African Union and European Union. This is what the call is about. There are already some documents, some important documents, and you will find them in the link. So we already have a comprehensive strategy with Africa, and now the call wants us to focus cooperation on 4 priority areas, and to develop, of course, a joint African Union, European Union innovation. These 4 areas are public health, green transition, innovation and technology, and capacities for science. So any project that covers one or more of these areas will be funded, and of course, the more areas we cover, the better, and the stronger consortium you can prove that you have between Africa and Europe, the better. The goal, of course, is to support the implementation of a new African Union, European Union innovation agenda. So we have a strategy, but we now need to work on the agenda. And that agenda will mean that we need to create networks across the innovation chain. So by network, we mean building connections between all parties, including private and public sectors, educational institutions, financial bodies. Engage citizens in innovation. So think about citizen science activities to encourage the involvement of students, promote creativity, promote collective intelligence, of course, gender equality and youth participation. Needless to say that a lot of these outcomes are common throughout the program. So have a look at this presentation. Of course, if you don't plan to submit any proposal under this call, there's no need to study the call. But have at least a look in this presentation and maybe in the call text to see how you can create some meaningful links, even if you are planning to submit a proposal under Startup Europe, for instance. Because remember that the impact is common, as you will see, and the outcomes are overlaying. And there are a lot of overlaps, which if you manage to point out and if you create if you create some ideas that will cover more than one aspects of the expected outcomes, then of course you will earn a lot of points towards a successful project. The target groups in this call, again, more or less, this is the standard type of target groups throughout the European innovation ecosystems. We have startups and network of startups. We have innovators, incubators, accelerators, technology transfer offices, academia, research and technology organizations, both from private and public sector. And of course, in this case, we have also some think tanks, obviously dealing with Africa and innovation in Africa. We can have some NGOs, civil society organizations, private and financial actors. Remember that it is important to show that you are involving the full quadruple helix, so all the parts, all the stakeholders of the innovation ecosystem. I remind you that the quadruple helix are the four parts of the innovation ecosystem. So we have academy and research. We have the government through the policymakers. We have the private sector through the SMEs and the industry. And of course, we have what we call the citizens, the society, societal actors, voice of customers, whatever brings you closer to the end users of your innovations. The objective of this call is to create a multidisciplinary approach, of course, so you don't need to go very deep into your proposal, into any specific domain. You need to cover as many as possible, as long as you create a coherent narrative. You need to have diverse stakeholders, so you need to have to cover as many stakeholders as possible to show that you have innovators, incubators, startups, academia. The whole quadruple helix is represented in the call, and that goes for both private and public sector, and of course show that you have, or you are able to establish connections and links with other initiatives that can support your activities, like the European Institute of Technology, of Innovation and Technology, IT, the knowledge innovation communities, other projects, and so on. An explicit mention in the project is that you need to have a kind of a sustainability plan, a legacy plan that will explain how the platform will continue operations. And by platform here, the call means all the exploitable assets of the project, so not just the online platform that you will probably use, but the whole mechanism, how this mechanism will be sustained to continue its operations without funding from Horizon Europe, through a sustainability plan that will involve all the four players of the innovation ecosystem. The impact of this particular call is, of course, to build connected innovation networks and strengthen the EU-wide innovation, enhance cross-border collaboration. This is why, of course, we are building these mechanisms. We don't want to create silos, so isolated research institutions that cannot talk with each other. They do not interact with the rest of the community, and they are not open to the world. So we need interconnectedness, we need cross-border collaboration, and there are studies that show that distance is not anymore an important factor for building meaningful innovation and meaningful collaborations. You are interested more into finding a partner that is aligned with your vision, with your mission, with your scope, your technological abilities, and can help you. You can exchange ideas, you can move together, rather than finding somebody who is just near you. Expanding global partnership, of course, this is also important, and by global we mean outside Europe. So the more partnerships you show with Africa, with America, with Australia, with Canada, with Asia, it is very important. And of course, you shouldn't forget that we always want to promote equality in innovation and create equal opportunities for both men and women, focusing on gender inclusivity, and as a final impact, reduce the innovation access gap. That means the innovation access gap is the gap that we have when not everybody has the same access to innovation in a country or in neighboring countries. So help those that are a bit further away from innovation support access this innovation support. Finally, there are some expected activities. That doesn't mean that you need to stick only to them. However, these are the key activities that are expected, and you need definitely to include them into your proposal. So we have the build of connections between innovation stakeholders that can take any form that you would like to give. So new initiatives, new acceleration programs, new incubation programs between all these stakeholders across the different levels of innovators. So interconnect between innovation, between research institutions, policy makers, so that you can create a wide network of innovation stakeholders, and make sure also that you create links with the national contact points, the communities that are already there, so the EIT, the EIC, the Enterprise Europe Network, all these stakeholders that are already working of innovation, try to involve them, try to help to provide opportunities for collaboration. Some further reading for you, should you decide to go for this call, although the references to Innovation Scoreboard and the Global Innovation Index are relevant for all the proposal, as is Startup Village. Only the references explicit to Africa are not relevant to the others. So that was a Connect 101. The deadline in about 2 months, 1 month and a half. The budget per project 2.5, and only 1 project to be funded. It may sound as a no-go, the fact that only 1 project will be funded. However, if you have already some strong connections with African partners or with European partners that work in Africa, or have operations in Africa or already involved in that innovation market, reach out, because a partner from Turkey will always be useful. They will be able to claim a wider expansion, and you also will be able to focus in specific interconnections that you can create. So under specific circumstances, that may be a good opportunity for some Turkish partners. You know, if your organizations are mature and willing to pursue an opportunity like this one. The second call is the Connect 0102, the Startup Europe. An easy name to remember and very conspicuous. The deadline, the deadline is not 19th of September, is also the 25th of April. And the budget per project, this table was wrong, so this is the correct one, 1.5 million in 6 proposals. I must have made some mistake when I was copying and paste the table. So 25th of April, 1.5 million, 1.5 million here. Let's correct that. 1.5, and I believe six projects will be funded. Let's see. Yes. So this is a very interesting call. You still have time to work on that, although the deadline is quite near. And you have time to work on that because the budget is relatively small, and you do not need a very big consortium. When you see a budget like that, we are talking usually about 4 to 5 partners. A very interesting point of aspect of this call is that it supports financial support to third parties. It is an optional feature, so you may create a cascading funding mechanism, or you may not. It's not mandatory. However, if you decide to do it, at least 60% of the budget should go to financial support to third parties. That means that out of the 1.5, 900,000 euros must go to cascading funding. The aim of the call is again to connect local digital and deep tech startups, startup ecosystems. And you will see here the explicit mention of deep tech, of course. So there is a clear preference, a clear guidance from the European Commission to focus on deep tech startups and the relevant ecosystems. Again, through cross-border acceleration activities for startups that can demonstrate traction. So we are talking here not about very early stage startups, but we're talking about companies that already have a presence in the market. Hopefully, they have a product, they have a solution, and we need to help them cross their borders, create stronger collaborations, find new markets, and become more extrovert. For instance, if there is a market product fit or at least a seed round raised, then we're talking about good applicants. That indicates that we're talking about more mature startups, not startups that they are still at the very early stages where you have 2 or 3 people working. They don't have, they just have an idea. So that means that we are talking about tier levels of 9, 8, 9, with products already in the market and companies that have at least some users, not necessarily high revenues or a lot of paid customers, but there should be some clear indication that the products and the services that these companies have do have a place. Specific attention, of course, again, you see that again, should be given to the inclusion of moderate or emerging innovator countries. So there is a clear preference for widening countries, again, even if we are talking now about the European innovation ecosystems. When we are talking about support to startups, this, of course, refers not to the partners, but mainly to the startups that you will support through the cascading funding. The expected outcomes, as you can see, are first and foremost to increase the market footprint of European startups in deep tech and strategic digital technologies. So help these startups reach the market, because we all know one of the problems that European startups face is that even if they reach the market, they are unable to scale up. Often they are away from the big innovation hubs, the big cities like London, like Paris, like the Silicon Valley in the States. So if you are very far away from these key cities, then it is even more difficult to scale up. So this is why we need to create better interconnections between all these systems. So a company that has a potential can live from a country in Europe and go to another country and find the market and get the size that it needs to get. There are, again, a number of areas that are clearly preferred under digital technologies and deep tech innovation. And as you can see, we are talking about artificial intelligence, advanced computing, cybersecurity, next-gen internet, blockchain, metaverse, Internet of Things, and of course, a whole category on energy, green tech, agri-tech, and financial technologies. Now, scaling up capabilities is also very important. This is what we need to do. And these capabilities should be funded. The capacity building of these capabilities should be funded through the programs that we want to prepare. So the idea is that we need to raise the capacity building of these companies and create also matching technologies, matching solutions between these companies and others, between these companies and potential clients, between these companies and the industry. Explicitly mentioned is the relation and the links that you should create with existing initiatives like the EIT, the KIC, EIC, InvestEU, Digital Europe, Women Tech EU, private, public investors, corporate innovation ventures, startup villages. So this is also something that you need to pay attention to. Target groups, of course, we are talking about ecosystem builders, business angels, venture capital entities, and any other, I would say, innovation intermediary. So any organization that is dealing with supporting innovation. It can be a technology transfer office, it can be a technopark, It can be a company that offers services to this kind of companies and clients. However, in your selection of the companies that you're going to support, you need to prioritize, and you need to look for startups that already have achieved market product fit. So they have their product, they have the market, or they have raised at least a round of financing, even if this round of financing was small. They should be established in moderate or emerging innovator countries, or they should be women-led. And women-led startups, we mean startups founded or co-founded by women, or startups that have a woman or more in top management positions. The destination of the call is the impact of the call is comes from the description of the destination, and you will see that it is almost identical with all the other three calls. So build connected innovation ecosystems, cross-border collaboration, global partnerships, equality, reduce innovation access gap. It is same throughout the European innovation ecosystem calls. And we should contribute to that expected impact in any way we see appropriate in our specific proposal, in our specific call. Let's close that. So, what should you do in your proposal? So what are the expected activities? The usual: support and promote the European partnership of SMEs, increase the research and innovation capacity and productivity, help them to be embedded in global value chains and access new markets. That's the idea. So this is what we should do. All the capacity building material, the training that we will design, the support programs that we will set up should aim at helping the companies that we will select to improve their value chains, to be more global, to access new markets. Again, we see deep tech as an explicit mention, and the fostering collaborations and networking between SMEs. So not only companies that work in deep tech, but also supporting cooperation between these companies. So maybe a consortia, a small consortia of companies that work in deep tech fields that are complementary and can address more challenges. Of course, the expected activities should include events to build networks, not only for Women Tech EU grantees, but this is also there is also an explicit mention on them. And the ultimate goal is to create a more competitive and sustainable and inclusive EU or Europe. Special attention should be given to the access of digital and deep tech startups to innovation procurement opportunities. And why this? Because innovation procurement means that you already have the challenge and a problem defined by the industry. So hospitals, for instance, or the health sector, the health sector industry have defined the problem. So the companies, the startups of the sector can pick up that problem, can pick up that challenge and create their own solutions. What you need to read, you need to familiarize yourself with the EIC community and what the community is and what it supports, but also have a look at Europe Startup Nation Alliance, as well as the documents, the sources that I shared previously when I was talking about the Africa call. Some of them apply, like the long-term visions for rural access, the startup villages, all of them apply actually. So this is the literature that you need to study and make sure that you understand it. And by studying this literature, identify where you would like to invest, where would you like to suggest something. These were the calls for April. I repeat that we may have just a little bit less than 2 months. However, it is not that difficult to create a Startup Europe call, a Startup Europe proposal, as long as you are already embedded in this ecosystem. You already have your networks. Maybe you have past calls, past projects that are not exploited. Maybe you are already participating in projects that under European Innovation Ecosystems that do not have a financial support. And this may be a good case for adding financial support. So remember that at least 60% can go to cascading funding. If you don't use this feature, if you do not use financial support to third parties, obviously you need to spend the majority of the money in creating activities that will support startups. So you need to create a portfolio of services that will support the startups, and then you will decide if, in addition to the portfolio that you have, you are going to add financial support. Because the budget, if you add financial support, will be significantly reduced. If you don't add, you have 1.5 million for the partners of the project. If you opt for cascading funding, then this budget is reduced to 600 for the whole consortium, for all the partners of the consortium. We'll respond to some of the questions that I see later on. Let me see. Okay. Okay, maybe it's a good idea to respond to see this question from Elisa Caleb from regarding the African Union European Innovation Platform. Joining Open Consortium. Okay. Okay. No, that wasn't the question.
Just an expression of interest to participate. And I think
Expression of interest, yes. I don't see any question here. It's fine. Yes. Are cluster managements eligible for applying Startup Europe? Yes, they are. And in fact, it is a good idea to include partners from the cluster collaboration platform, because clusters as a mandate, they need these activities. So clusters are nothing more than a collection of members, and their members have special mandates, and their members need initiatives to help them innovate. So you need to include clusters in your proposals. And the good thing in clusters is that they have members, which means that you have direct access to their members by including them in your proposals. And you can they already belong to a mechanism that can help you replicate your results. So it is a good idea to include them. I will proceed, and of course, if we have further questions, please feel free to post them. The calls of September, we have 2 calls for September, the expanding academia enterprise collaborations. And we have $500,000 budget per project with 5 projects expected to be funded. The call here is to encourage educational and research institutions to become more involved. So we need more involvement from the research and the academic institutions, mainly from the academic institutions, into innovation and entrepreneurship. We need more of that. And we need to integrate these institutions more deeply into the innovation ecosystem, because often they are working in isolation. And to do that, of course, these institutions need to have a clear vision and explain this vision in the proposal, why they are participating, that they need to have a vision on how they are going to approach innovation, how they are going to be further integrated into these innovation ecosystems. The expected outcomes, as you can imagine, a lot similar than with the outcomes of the previous call. Boost innovation ecosystems through closer ties, so bring together institutions with the innovation intermediaries. In essence, bring together academia and industry and business, enhance the knowledge and skill flow. So we have the academic institutions, but at the same time, we need to adapt the trainings and the knowledge that it is offered by these institutions to include also other aspects to enhance the skills of both the academics, so professors, lecturers, trainers, in aspects of entrepreneurship, innovation, and also create better links between what the education institutions are teaching and what the industry demands. Upgrade the skills for innovation, so improve the skills between all the networking skills between all the participants, and that should include digital, green, entrepreneurial, networking skills. Connect educational institutions with tech infrastructures. So although a lot of universities already have tech parks and have incubators, we need to make sure that these educational institutions have high access to testing, to scaling facilities if such facilities are needed. So we need access to industrial infrastructure. If we are talking about deep tech, then you need infrastructure. You need to test, you need to create an environment where these ideas can be tested. Of course, empower innovators, students, graduate researchers to launch and manage startups, support local talent and entrepreneurship, improve collaborations and engagement. You see the same ideas again and again. Don't forget youth employability and gender balance. Explicitly mention in the call So it is something that you should explicitly address in your proposal. So with create some initiatives, some components that will support young people and improve gender balance. The target groups are again similar. So we are talking about research and innovations, but it can be even vocational schools. That it doesn't have to be just higher educations. Public authorities in the field of education, innovation agencies, SMEs, the companies, the initiatives that you know, research performing organizations, so R&I institutions, and of course, technology transfer offices, associations, and even students and researchers through some bodies, some collective bodies that they can represent them. Because you cannot have just one student participate, you don't have individuals. The expected impact, again, that comes from the destination. You see that it is the same, connectiveness, cross-border collaboration, global partnership, equality, reduce of the innovation access gap, and as expected activities. We are looking about 2-year programs. Most of the projects here will be 2 years. And these projects, these proposals call for co-design programs of activities. So you need to make sure that whatever you are suggesting is designed in common, jointly by the research or the educational player and the private sector. And you also need to create a balance. So have somebody from an emerging or moderate innovation ecosystem, the education player, and a strong innovator or innovation leader from the private sector, from an innovation hub. That is necessary in order to instill the innovation principles and help the emerging and moderate innovators raise their level of understanding and connectedness to innovation ecosystems. Other expected activities is the engagement of business experts. So I'll give you an example. In your proposals, you can create a pool of business experts that can support the startups through networking, through coaching, through mentoring, through networking activities, helping them to reach other markets. Engaging students and graduates. This is something that we start watching it in universities through, for instance, industrial hackathons or industry days where the students present their ideas and demonstrate what they have achieved. And you have representatives of companies and of businesses looking at them and investing. In general, we want to promote innovation across students and graduates, but we want to make students think about innovation and about entrepreneurship, not only when they graduate, but even earlier at their student career, student life. Students and researchers in startups, yes, this is the obvious outcome. And of course, in order to help them to run businesses, to raise funds, you need to train them, you need to create the necessary capacity building and training programs, working with the industry, so the students and the researchers know what they have to prepare, know what they have to deal with, and be ready to process their idea and transform their idea into the market, into a market product or service or solution. Again, we see, of course, the necessity of synergies between all these actors, both at the local level, at the regional level, at an EU level, and of course, again, the explicit mention of deep tech. As a further reading, I suggest the ENTRECOMP, the Entrepreneurship Competence Framework. This is an EU document that explains what are the competencies that an entrepreneur requires and how this can be achieved. And a relevant call by the EIT on innovation capacity building for higher education. These are explicitly mentioned in the calls, which means that you need to address them properly. You need to reach out and see if you can connect with a partner, an entity, an institution that participate, for instance, in the pilot call of the EIT, because that way you will be able to have somebody who has already networked with another initiative, and you need to create a lot of links between your consortium to prove that you are able to create new links between them. So you have still enough time for that. Obviously, you won't be able, we're not looking about a very big consortium here. 4, 5 partners. The budget is quite small. There is no financial support to third parties here, but you need to create a lot of interconnections between the existing initiatives and new initiatives that you will suggest. But you have time to work on that. Keep in mind that September 19 is after summer. Summer in Europe can be tricky, especially August. So if you are interested in this proposal, you need to start early. I would say immediately after April or even earlier, so that you can secure the consortium, you can build the consortium that you need, and then evolve your ideas of the proposal and be ready on time. The final call, it's a very explicit call. It is a call for national and regional innovation entities or similar applications. So national and regional authorities in charge of management of innovation programs. So it's not open to everyone. It is about a support scheme for national and regional innovation. The aim of the call is to align national and regional programs with European ones. So the call encourages the agencies that are responsible for these programs to collaborate and to learn from each other and create new programs that will be eligible for the new EIC Accelerators plugin scheme. This new scheme, the plugin scheme, allows startups that have participated in national programs that are registered to the EIC and recognized by the plugin scheme to go directly to phase 2 of EIC Accelerator. So you don't have to go through the whole stages, through phase 1 and submit a short proposal application and then wait and then submit a full application. You can go directly to phase 2. We'll have more information on this. It's quite a relatively a new scheme, so we don't exactly know how it will work. But this is the idea. The core aim is, of course, again, to connect the innovation agencies, improve the program quality, share best practices, enhance the accessibility of innovation agencies. And the single objective is to create innovation support programs that will be eligible for EIC accelerators scheme. The expected outcomes reduce fragmentation, so make the innovation support more aligned, more universal, create cooperation between the agencies, better communication, better communicate the plugin scheme. So explain to the companies that there is a scheme that is called plugin and they can participate in that. And of course, create a more equal and more aligned approach in the evaluation of projects. So learn to evaluate innovation in a more universal way. The expected output, the expected impact is the same, and the expected activities is, as you can imagine, the support of innovation agencies and explicitly improving or setting up national or regional funding programs that can be certified under the plugin scheme. So we're talking about a fairly explicit call, not a lot of potential applicants. Even in this case, to be honest, my personal opinion is that the budget per project is very low. The eligibility requirements are the ones you know, so we still need 3 partners, which makes the benefit of each partner quite small. So the budget for each partner is very low. I really do not know how an innovation agency can benefit by getting something like 30 or 40,000 euros to set up an innovation program, unless it is something that the agencies already do. And this budget can help them organize some actions for their alignment. So some exchange of information, basically, and the preparation for the certification under the plugin scheme. So we're talking about very specific activities here. That's all that I have to say. I just want to demonstrate something in the funding and tender portal. In the funding and tender portal, you will find all these 4 calls. So now the open calls are the African European Union Innovation Platform and the Startup Europe. Forthcoming are the 2 new ones. My advice is go to Cordis and look for projects under European Innovation Ecosystem. So click here, Horizon Europe Framework, go to Innovative Europe and click on European Innovation Ecosystems, apply, and also here the collection, we are looking only for projects, we are not looking for news or results or anything else. And this will give you 250 results of European Innovation Ecosystem projects. We don't need this one. They may sound a lot, but I advise you to go through these 250 titles and see. I'm sure that you will find some that are relevant to whatever you are thinking of doing or to the domains that the specific domains that you are working on and you would like to explore. any project that you find interesting, you can add to my booklet, and then at the end, you can download your booklet. This will help you get a list of all the interesting projects or the relevant projects to your idea. And then you will be able to analyze them, see what kind of functions they have implemented, if they are finished, if they are still under development, maybe reach out and offer your help, offer collaboration for a potential continuation of the project, offer some complementarity, offer some financial support to third parties, because most of these projects did not have financial support to third parties. So it is a good idea to start from existing projects, even if the number sounds big, 250. You will not spend more than 2 or 3 hours browsing through this list and identifying the projects that are really relevant to you. And once you have them, then you will be able to see what has been done in the past and what is missing, and you will be able to create a proposal that will respond to these specific needs. That's all from my part. Let's open the floor and see if there are any questions. I don't see any questions. Please feel free to answer anything that you would like. Nikos, I don't know if you have any comments.
No, not from my side. I think they're excellent. These opportunities, funding opportunities, are excellent ones for anyone that is supporting innovation, is interested to advance innovation at the regional, national, and European level. We didn't have that many in Horizon 2020, as you said, so this is a unique opportunity for supporting the European innovation ecosystem.
Okay, example of cascading funding. Yes, cascade funding or financial support to third parties works like that. The consortium will receive 1.5 million or whatever you will.
We cannot see your slides. We see also just your web browser. Is that okay? With the funding and others portal, do you go to the?
Yeah, I can go to the. I don't have any specific slide.
Okay, sorry about that.
We can go here, where we have, not here, sorry, because this is the call that requires financial support. So you get the budget that you request. However, you need to give back 60% of this budget through cascading funding. Cascading funding means that you will support third parties. There are specific rules for that. So, for instance, you cannot give more than 60,000 euro to one company. You need to create a mechanism for that. So you need to create open calls. You need to create eligibility criteria. You need to describe how you're going to select, which companies will you be targeting. And this is where, of course, the call will help you, because you see that the outcomes, this is what they are looking for. So what you're looking for is companies that are developing something around these ideas. Obviously, they shouldn't be early stage startups. They should be more mature. They should have something, a product in the market. Maybe they are already involved in other initiatives like the InvestEU, EIC, Women Tech EU. And once you select them through this process, then you will give them a lump sum. So 60,000 per company to develop a prototype, to work on a specific project, to come up with an idea. So anything that will help them promote their product, their solution to a bigger audience. You are supporting them through cascading funding.
Can you I have a question on that, Odysseas, maybe it's useful. Can you, since you're providing cascade funding and since you are subtracting funding from your total budget, which is 1.5 million euros, can you request in exchange to have some participation in the equity because of that amount?
No, you cannot do that, no.
You cannot do that. So,
No, it's no equity budget, no.
okay, so there is no way to take that back somehow. I mean, you're just so. What is the idea behind cascade funding? Why you should suggest then cascade funding instead of going and requesting just to develop services for?
It's optional. You don't have to do that. You do not have to give cascading funding. But if you decide to give cascading funding, you give it as an extra incentive along your other services. So the essence of these calls is to create a portfolio of services. Okay, so we give some training, we give some mentoring, we give some coaching. In addition to that, you may decide to give also some money. Why are you giving this money to the companies? Because you need them to create, let's say, a business plan for new markets. You need them to participate into conferences, into fairs, into events outside their country, so become more extrovert. You need them to reach to create strategy for scaling up, whatever that means. So there are a number of in your consortium, you can offer a certain number of services. You cannot offer everything. So you give them, in addition to the services that you offer them, some extra money to use as they see fit. However, you create certain very specific rules for that. Other projects work through vouchers. So you give to the companies a voucher which they can spend into specific activities. They can buy, for instance, subscriptions to platforms, or you in your application before you select them, you will ask them how they are going to spend this money, how they are going to use this money. So it is the same principle that you are following when you request money from the Commission. The principle is very simple. You are requesting money, you are setting up a consortium, and you request money from the Commission, and you have to explain to the Commission how you are going to spend this money. It's the same principle. You are just an intermediary. The Commission gives you that amount of money. You have to give them a way to support specific companies, and the companies and the startups that will win this money will have to prove to you what and how they're going to invest them. And of course, throughout this process, you need to keep an eye, you need to monitoring this process, and you need to report back to the Commission, yes, I selected 50 companies, I offered them mentoring, coaching, training, plus 50,000 euros to go to international fairs and conferences outside their country. And this is how they spend them. And one of them managed to go to an international fair, let's say in Paris, in London, and present their idea into an investor, and we had a match between a company and investor. There is a success story. So this is more or less how it works.
Is cascade funding applicable if you provide contribution in kind, which means not any cash to them, but as you said, just mentoring, training, service?
You can apply, you can combine that. You can combine it. You can combine the services that you will offer to them. You can offer just services. You may opt out
Yes.
in the call and you say, okay, I'm not going to offer any financial support to third parties, no cascading funding. I'm just going to offer services to them, training, mentoring, coaching, whatever. Or you may say, I'm not giving any services. I'm giving just financial support to third parties. My work as a consortium will be to set up the mechanisms for this financial support to third parties, to monitor it and make sure that everything goes as planned. And the companies that will get this money will have to spend them, let's say, in certified solution providers. So in addition to the companies that you need to select, you will need to do a kind of due diligence and select, let's say, a registry of consultants, of mentors, of coaches, where these companies can spend the money that you give them. So you need a tight control of the money flow and how they spend them. It's not free money. It is just you are just an intermediary of European Commission funds.
Mm. And according to your view, which of those two scenarios might be more attractive for the European Commission? Of course, I understand it depends on the objectives and what kind of achievements you're going to have in the project, but
Yes.
okay, so there's not.
I think that they would like to see cascading funding because most of the calls so far did not have any cascading funding in European Innovation Ecosystems. I'm talking about EIE calls, because there was cascading funding in Pillar 2. However, you need to make sure that the project is viable, because if there is, as I said, a requirement to give at least 60%. That means that if you get to 1.5 million, then you will give 900,000 of that. That leaves you with 600,000 for a consortium of 4 to 5 participants. So if you feel that this budget is enough to implement the cascading funding project, then go for that. But again, it depends on the needs. That is why I suggest that you start by looking at the available projects under European Innovation Ecosystems.
Thank you. I don't know if there are any other questions from the audience. Any wrap-up, closing remarks from Delia or from Merve?
Thank you for your presentations, and I think there's no questions or comments so far.
Okay. So if there are no questions, no final remarks, then I believe that is the end of our today's session. Please look all the previous trainings that we have, all the slides that we shared today. There are many opportunities, so try to exploit them as much as possible. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.